Okay, welcome to another episode of NameFlakes. I'm going to do my daughter's boyfriend this time, Donny. Again, I'm going to use block letters. I lit things up a little bit better. I hope you can see better the second time. Again, ordinary sheet of typing paper. Fold the corner across like this. And then turn and fold the other corner up like this. So, take 2 folds, 1, 2, and you're going to cut across, cut off this top piece. Okay. So, this is what you have, and remember this part here, this point, is going to be the center of your snowflake, and it's going to be the center of the little ice cream cone you're about to make. Fold it in thirds. Doesn't matter which end goes in first, as long as your thirds are exact. Play with it a little. Okay. Fold it exactly in thirds, and what it gives you is kind of a little ice cream cone with horns. We're going to cut those horns off. Now again, I'm going to do block letters like I did for Ryan, because that gives you the basic technique. Once you've practiced, you get better at it. You can start doing cursive or a mix of upper and lowercase. So you can put Donny across here. You have to make sure that the letters always connect with each other, and you also have to make sure you're always leaving at least one part of the top edge and at least one part of the bottom edge intact, so that when you open up your snowflake, everything stays connected and you don't wind up with a bunch of separate pieces. So when I make my D here, I'm going to make sure I leave a little bit of that and a little bit of that connected, and I'm planning ahead. I'm going to connect my O to the center of my D. Got to make a kind of a skinny D, so there's room for D, O, N, N, Y. Just cut about halfway down and about halfway up, as you can see. There's my basic D. And I'm not going to cut out the center just yet, because I want you to see how I connect the beginning of that O. When I do the O, again, just like with the D, I'm going to leave a little bit of this connected and a little bit of this connected. And that O is going to connect to the D, and I'm going to leave it intact over here on this side so the N can be attached to the other end of the O. So, sorry, my eyes are bad. I have to bring it up close to my face. There we go. Okay. So you can see my basic D and the beginning of my O. And still nice skinny letters. I'll have room for N and Y. And just to show you how it's done, I'm going to cut out the center of the D. The way you do that, I'm going to cut up the stem of the D, cut around here and back in. So this is going to be separated here, but because I don't cut that out, when you flatten the snowflake out, it's going to look okay. So, up and around, cutting out the center of my D. And there it is. Okay. See, I left that attached there. I left that attached there. Now I'm going to do similarly with the O to what I just did with the D. Take it over there and leave room for the N to be attached. Leaving a little bit attached here and a little bit attached here. Okay, and so as you can, for leaving the top of the N, I'm going to round off that. See how that O is kind of lopsided? I'm going to round off the O, make it a little bit shorter than the D, because the top of the N is going to be attached, just to make my O prettier. Okay, it's a little bit more clear, the shape of the O there. And it's okay that this isn't intact here, because it's going to, first of all, it's intact on the D, and it's going to be intact on the top of both of the N's. I'm going to cut just the first stem of the N, again making sure I leave that attached to the center of the O. Okay. You can see my D, O. I'm going to make my N, another N, and a Y. Now to cut out the center of the O, I can pick a spot, it doesn't really matter where I'll just cut across, cut out the center, and just like with that D, where it's detached, when you flatten it and laminate it, it's not going to show. So cut in just a tad, however thick I want my O to be. And cut around. Careful not to cut through that. And there you see my O. Now again my N. This is the first part of my N. Bottom. Okay, you can see the basic shape of my N. Then I can decide whether I want my two N's to be attached at the top or at the bottom. I'm going to go for attaching them at the top, which means I'm going to take this up almost all the way. Okay, so you can see the N. Cut a little space to separate it from the next N. And I have to remember when I'm making the second N, the Y is going to be attached to the top of that N. So I need to be careful when I'm cutting out that N that I leave that space to attach the Y to it. So again, across and down. Out this part of the N. Now you can see that N starting to take shape, and again I have to remember to leave space for that Y to be connected. So I'm going to cut the stem of my Y and fork my Y, and since the Y is the last letter, I can just go ahead and get rid of the rest of the snowflake. So cut up a little bit. Come across for one of the stems, one of the arms of my Y. Okay, so see, there's the first arm of my Y. I'm going to come up and make the second arm of my Y. There. And come out, cut out that little part. And there we go, D-O-N-N-Y, and then let's open it up and flatten it out and see how it looks. Block letters are easiest for beginners. I can use cursive, I can do a mix of upper and lower case. Sometimes it depends on whether I'm doing a snowflake for a male or for a female, because I just feel like fancier is a little bit more appropriate for females. little curvier because women are curvier. Flatten it out. I'll flatten it in a book to make it stay nice and flat. So you see, I've got a beautiful snowflake, and there it says Donny, 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 the whole way around. And it's as simple as that.